Buckle up, listeners, because today we are diving headfirst into a real-life experiment.
An experiment with a bold goal to raise geniuses.
We're talking about the Polgár family, and our guide is László Polgár's book, Raise a Genius.
This book, published in 1989, outlines László's unique approach to, well,
To raising his three daughters to become chess prodigies.
it's a fascinating look at the age-old debate. Nature versus nurture.
László, a chess teacher, was convinced that any healthy child could, with the right approach, achieve genius-level success.
And he decided to test this theory with his own family.
His daughters, Zusa, Sofia, and Judith, became chess champions at incredibly young ages. Talk about a family affair.
This wasn't just some hobby, though.
It was a full-blown family pedagogical experiment, as László called it.
He rejected the traditional school system, calling it stifling and limiting to a child's true potential.
He saw traditional schools as these rigid institutions, focused more on mediocrity than on nurturing individual talents.
It's easy to see where he's coming from.
Kids often get stuck in a system that prioritizes rote memorization over real-world application.
Exactly. And that's exactly what László wanted to avoid. He believed in individualized learning, tailored to a child's unique strengths and passions.
So he decided to homeschool his daughters, creating a learning environment that fostered their love for chess.
And this wasn't just playing chess for fun in the evenings.
This was intense, focused, and started at an early age. We're talking 4 or 5 years old.
This early specialization, as he called it, was a cornerstone of the Polgár method.
It's pretty different from how we usually think about raising kids, right?
The common belief is to let kids explore different activities, avoid putting too much pressure on them too early.
But László argued that by focusing intensely on one discipline, children develop essential skills discipline, strategic thinking.
Skills that can be applied to any area of life, not just chess.
So it wasn't just about creating chess champions.
It was about nurturing well-rounded individuals equipped with the tools to excel in any field.
It sounds intense, but also incredibly effective.
Well, the Polgár sisters' achievements speak for themselves.
They really do. They dominated the chess world, challenging not only their opponents, but also deeply ingrained gender stereotypes.
At the time, the idea of women competing at the highest levels of chess was almost unheard of.
But the Polgár sisters changed that perception with their groundbreaking success.
They proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that talent and potential know no gender.
Their story is a powerful reminder that we should never underestimate the power of dedication, a supportive environment,
And a willingness to challenge the status quo.
We'll dive deeper into the Polgár method and its implications for education and personal development right after this short break. So back to the Polgár method. This idea of intense focus on one discipline from a young age, it's fascinating, but it also kind of makes you wonder.
I wonder if maybe they missed out on some of the joys of a more well-rounded childhood.
Right, like did they ever just get to be kids, explore different interests, maybe goof off a little?
László addressed that concern head-on. He wouldn't call it goofing off, though.
Of course not. He had a very specific philosophy.
He believed in something he called active rest. It wasn't about vegging out in front of the TV.
More like engaging their minds in different ways, even during their downtime.
Exactly. So for the Polgár girls, active rest meant learning languages.
Languages?
Yes, learning languages, playing table tennis, exploring art.
Wow, that's not exactly your typical playtime.
But here's the thing. László was convinced that the brain needs constant stimulation to develop its full potential.
So even their downtime was strategically designed to enhance their cognitive abilities.
It sounds intense, I know. But those activities weren't random. They were carefully chosen to complement their chess development.
Give us an example. How does, say, learning languages connect to chess?
Well, think about it. Languages involve memorization, pattern recognition, and strategic thinking.
Just like chess.
Exactly. And table tennis. That hones hand-eye coordination and reflexes.
Skills that could come in handy during a tense match. And what about art? Where does that fit in?
Art cultivates spatial reasoning, creativity, the ability to think outside the box, just like you have to do in a chess game.
It's amazing how he connected seemingly disparate activities to enhance their chess skills.
He understood that everything is interconnected, that learning in one area can have ripple effects on other areas.
It's like cross-training for your brain. But it wasn't all just about quiet study and active rest. Competition played a huge role in their development too, right?
Absolutely. László believed that competition was crucial for pushing boundaries, building resilience. It's where theory meets practice.
And for the Polgar sisters, this meant stepping into a world that was, at the time, overwhelmingly male-dominated.
And not just stepping in, but excelling.
They faced not only the pressure of competition, but also the weight of societal expectations.
Remember, this was back in the 80s. The idea of women competing at the top levels of chess was, for many, unthinkable.
And yet, the Polgar sisters didn't just challenge those expectations, they obliterated them.
Their victories were a testament not only to their talent and hard work,
But also to the power of a supportive environment.
and the courage to defy the odds.
Their story is incredibly inspiring, but it also kind of makes you wonder about the ethics of it all.
The ethics.
Yeah, like how do we balance this kind of intense, focused development with a child's right to choose their own path?
That's a really important question, and one we'll definitely delve into as we continue to explore the Polgar family experiment.
It's a real ethical tightrope walk, isn't it? On the one hand, you have this incredible dedication to nurturing potential, but on the other,
You have to consider the potential costs. Did the Polgar sisters have the freedom to choose different paths?
right, like what if one of them wanted to be a musician or an astronaut or, I don't know, a chef?
László addressed this directly in his writings. He firmly believed that any field could be mastered with the same intensity and focus.
So for him, it wasn't really about chess specifically.
It was about the underlying principles: early specialization, deliberate practice, a supportive environment.
But still, it's hard not to wonder if maybe on some level their childhoods were, I don't know.
Well, unconventional for sure.
Yeah, unconventional. But, despite the unorthodox methods, there's no denying the Polgar sisters' incredible achievements.
And their impact, too. They didn't just win chess matches.
They challenged deeply ingrained societal norms, broke down barriers.
They showed the world that women could not only compete, but dominate in a field long considered a male domain.
It's incredibly empowering. But let's circle back to the ethics for a moment. One thing that really struck me about László Polgár was his emphasis on character.
Yes, he wasn't just focused on creating chess geniuses.
It was just as important to him that his daughters grew up to be, well,
Good people.
yeah, good people, ethical, compassionate, with a strong sense of integrity.
He saw those qualities as being inseparable from true genius.
Which makes you think, what's the point of all the intellectual brilliance if it's not accompanied by, a sense of responsibility, of empathy?
Exactly. László believed that intelligence without integrity could be, well,
Downright dangerous.
he wanted his daughters to use their gifts for good, to make a positive impact on the world.
It's a powerful message, and one that feels, I think, especially relevant today.
In a world that often seems to prioritize individual achievement above all else.
The Polgár family reminds us that true success is about more than just winning.
It's about using your abilities to make a difference, to contribute something meaningful to the world around you.
And to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries, to never settle for that's just how things are.
Their story is a testament to the power of human potential, the importance of a nurturing environment.
And the courage to dream big, even when those dreams challenge conventional wisdom.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we're left with this question.
Mm.
Can we take inspiration from the Polgár experiment without,
Without replicating its more, shall we say, intense aspect.
Exactly. Can we find a balance between nurturing talent and respecting individual autonomy? Can we encourage focused pursuit of passion without losing sight of the importance of exploration and well-rounded development?
These are questions worth pondering, and ones that I think each of us in our own ways grapples with.
Ultimately, the Polgár family story is a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to education, to parenting, to life itself.
It's about finding what works for you, what aligns with your values, and what allows you to tap into your unique potential, whatever that may be.
And maybe, just maybe, their story will inspire us all to be a little bit bolder, a little bit more curious, and a whole lot more open to challenging the limits of what we think is possible.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds engaged and those imaginations fired up.